We up and I'm feeling like a new me. Stacking new sets, some new E. NFTs, all of them you need. Back in my zone like 2-3. All time high, hit a new peak. Let's go. Homie, the Bulls is back. I said the Bulls is back.
GM, welcome back to the channel. Now in this one, we're looking at the stock market in terms of returns during election cycles. We've got a bit of a macro update. Big Daddy Larry Fink speaks. We've also got some epic memes at the end of this one, so make sure you do stick around till the end. Subscribe if you're new. Let's jump in. So BTC is currently sat at 70,900 and a little bit of change there. Now, the daily statistics are, if we are to close positively, generally the average on a Thursday has been 2% to the upside. So pretty much taking us to around 72,600, somewhere near that red line at the top by there. But if we have downside price action, we would have 1.75% is the average down day on a Thursday. So that would take us to around 69,800 and change there. So playing out some levels pretty much between this red line and this green line down here. But as you can see, the longer that Bitcoin just holds at this level, it seems like the momentum is slowly taking us forward, although it's a little bit slower than I would like at this moment. So a little bit of PTSD due to the previous sell-offs we've had around this region in the prior weeks. Now, yesterday we had some epic flows yet again, not as big as the day previous, but pretty damn substantial again. So $488 million of inflows from the ETFs into Bitcoin. IBIT posted 155, FBTC, which is Fidelity, 220, and you'll see down the bottom there, GBTC, even with an inflow, $14 million. So that is definitely of note. There has been some follow through, but again, the fact we didn't break through 71 meaningfully yesterday off the back of that shows there's definitely sellers at around this region. You can also see this, that the rational route has programmed, showing the holdings of these various ETF providers, and BlackRock has recently flipped that of Grayscale, 295,000 Bitcoin held by them, 285,000 by Grayscale, 170,000 by Fidelity. Now bear in mind, Grayscale are now seemingly starting to add to their position overall, but Big Daddy Fink is leading the race. So I wanted to bring this one up. S&P 500 index returns during election years. So you have all of the history here of the US elections, and you can see the various candidates that won and whether their color represents Republican or Democrat. Not really digging that deep into things here, but generally, if you just look at the returns in here, they're almost all positive. The only negative years, 1932 and 1940. Then we have 2000, minus 9.1%. That was the dot-com crash. And 2008, the global financial crisis, minus 37%. But the majority of other US election years have been positive returns. 16%, 12%, 23s, 32s. Some really good numbers in there, very healthy. And obviously you can feel that now as we are living through this. They're starting to ease conditions. A lot more favorable policies coming into play as they try to win voters over. So this really does feel like a golden period for markets. And of course, the spillover effects. If people make huge money in stocks, they're going to start to dabble in crypto also. Then if you look at this data here, primarily on the left-hand side. So during a presidential election year, the average stock performance is around 11% up. So this would be this year, around 11% gain. And it says in non-election years, it's even bigger, 14.6%. So non-election year would actually be 2025. And then midterm elections would be 2026, if you see the comments in the top right-hand corner here. So that would be like bullish, top of the bull market, 2026, bear market. That is the potential way that this could pan out if you just overlay this in the context of elections versus crypto. And as we know, 2024, we had the halving here. 2025, the halving likely to have played out in its entirety in terms of the supply-demand discrepancy. Bitcoin always runs, then has a retrace, and 2026 being the bear market would make a lot of sense with the 4-year cycles. Now, building on that, if we just quickly eyeball the TradFi markets here, this is the NASDAQ, posted a brand new all-time high yesterday, 19,035. SPX, the S&P 500, again, new all-time high, 5,354. So, of course, those stats kind of playing out here, things being very bullish going into this election. So, very interesting indeed. Now, this was a cool one that Vance pointed out. And if we just think about how we value cryptocurrencies, we often do this kind of comparison. What is the kind of value of ETH? We kind of then do a multiplier. Sol should be worth X amount of ETH. But as Vance points out here, Nvidia just passed a 3 trillion market cap as of, I think it was yesterday. They had a big return yesterday, and they've actually moved ahead of Apple here from third position into second biggest company on planet Earth right now. So you're getting $3 trillion company valuations. So he says we're rapidly entering the era of 10 trillion companies. Crypto, therefore, is laughably mispriced. I think the total crypto market cap right now is 2.5 trillion, somewhere in that region, whether you read off CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. There's a slight difference between the two, but it would make sense that the relative valuation of crypto should reprice a lot higher when you have companies posting these huge numbers. Then yesterday we had some big news in terms of rate cuts. The Bank of Canada has been the first major economy to decide to cut interest rates. So we have the FOMC coming up, I think it is next week in the US. And today, I think it's 2:15 p.m. UK time, we have the European Central Bank probably going to cut rates as well. So the cutting has begun. And so the point here from Quinn Thompson, it would not surprise me in the slightest if the global central banks are coordinating easing despite a tighter Fed. Their hopes for looser US monetary policy have continuously been disappointed and have held on higher for longer than they would have preferred. So now this puts the Fed on the shot clock, as he says. The longer the Fed maintains more restrictive policy, the stronger the dollar becomes before eventually forcing their hand due to a problem in their own markets. So it seems like we are in the position of check, and we're just waiting for checkmate to play out. So that will be very interesting. Then I want to show this clip off. So I don't know if you saw this news. BlackRock and Citadel are launching potentially a new national stock exchange in the state of Texas. Now, New York has definitely higher taxes than the state of Texas, so this could be a move on that front. But if Larry Fink is recreating a stock exchange, and he has now, tokenized everything as his kind of mantra, it makes sense that we maybe have Ethereum's kind of marketing pitch coming to the fore here as we see the ETH ETF about to go live. I was thinking, how is he going to pitch Ethereum? Well, the tokenization platform of the stock exchange would be a good start. So just listening to this, a previous clip on him talking about tokenization in this context.
We believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets. And that means every stock, every bond will have its own, basically, CUSIP. It'll be on one general ledger. Every investor, you and I, will have our own number, our own identification. We could rid ourselves of all issues around illicit activities about bonds and stocks and digital by having a tokenization. But the most importantly thing, we can customize strategies through tokenization that fits every individual. We would have instantaneous settlement. Think about all the costs of settling bonds and stocks.
But if he's literally given the playbook shilling blockchain tech here for the stock exchange. So this is rather big news, and I think we can see the tokenization kind of route is going to be the way they sell the ETH ETF to the boomers and the masses. Very interesting stuff. Let's look at ETH here in terms of Van Eck with a new price model or price target. By 2030, they think the ETH price should be around $22,000. This puts it at a multi-trillion-dollar market cap. Very interesting indeed. Current kind of price level, just eyeballing things on the ETH chart here. We had the ETF news here where the odds changed, and then we've got the approval during this period, waiting for it to go live. But as you can see, it's just waiting for the next leg. ETH around 3850, market cap around $500 billion right now. Then final updates, bit of alpha here. IONET, the IO token is coming next week. So this was confirmed by the team. They are starting with a Binance launch pool. You would stake BNB to earn potentially some IO tokens. They're often highly oversaturated. Like, unless you're an absolute giga whale, you wouldn't be earning many tokens, but 11th of June is the date, most importantly. And as you can see from the pre-market on Evo, it's currently at a $3.5 billion fully diluted valuation. So this is going to be super interesting. Definitely one of the ones I've got my eye on. This IO and Tapioca both launching on the 11th of June, which will be maybe the end of my investment season, like long-term investments for this cycle. We'll do shitcoin trading in between, but I think those are the two big ones that I've been waiting for really, and they're both coming on the same date, 11th of June. So time to strategize on that. Let's finish off with the memes of the day. The first one, Iggy Azalea is mogging Vitalik Buterin here, saying he was just hangry after he kicked off about the celebrity Meta. We then have this one, Solana versus Ethereum. That one's a good one. That's a bit of a banger. And then the last one, we've got a video clip here. What do you think Gensler is about to signal here?
For the investors in those private credit, what the
hell is that hand movement? You have to wonder. Anyway, that is all from today. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Peace.